Yeah, you know what it is. Man, Hakim Green Channel live and direct, BDP all day, every day. All we do is spark, mad, OG, Kush. Woo.
Oh, yeah, Hakim.
Something ain't right. I got to get it right and exact. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Oh, here we go now. Mic check 1 2.
You sounded right.
Not picking up the microphone. Oh, wait a minute. I think I just did it. I think that was.
Here it is.
Check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, cool.
No, you good.
Is it too loud?
You money? Nah, you perfect. You on point.
I'm on point.
On point, Hakim. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Madism in the building, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Big Wes.
you know, this is the Madism Sports Show. You know, I gotta keep it right and exact over here.
You got the OG nugs.
Yeah, got the OG craculating. You know what I mean? No crack, excuse me. No, we don't do that over here. Definitely not that. No crack. Ooh, matter of fact, shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but listen, fellas, you know, big up Wes, big up Cliff, no doubt. We got a special guest in the building. Let me bring him in. Familiar face, friends and family.
It's at this point of the year.
Okay, coach. All right.
Got you.
I'm gonna let him handle his business. And y'all know how we do. I got something lined up. We're gonna get the inviting, subscribing.
Yep.
Everybody in the building, like, subscribe, share the stream. Bring people to the conversation. This is jewelry. Yeah, this goes out to every old head who took the time to drop a jewel on me. You know what I mean? Little bits of wisdom. Yo, check it out. Listen. If pimpin' ain't easy, what the fuck is revolution? What? Rappers be spitting straight noise pollution. Here's a clean glass of water, I show you how to eat the live. What goes around comes, let me show you how to give. There's something that you hear when an honor's at your rib. In the street, you fuck your jewels, thug drool like baby biz. I try to stay mindful, write something for the kids. Talk it like I walk it, rap it how I live. I came up blue collar, strive to be a scholar, but I couldn't eat the love, I only starve without the dollar. Depression, the stress is enough to make you holler when the landlord's at your doorstep. The devil's on your collar. It's all like jewels. Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Yeah. It's all like jewels. Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Yeah. They call me a slacker, cause I won't sell crack for the cracker. I call women queens and I love the berry blacker. Some chicks get it twisted, they'd rather be called bitches with their ass in the air like everybody's supposed to kiss it. It's a simple lesson, you get what you deserve. Is life a bitch or just a pimp with a perm? See mommy tricked out, made a little heartburn. Or something she'll forget when it's time to take her turn. When will the children learn this was better to earn? But when my niggas put in work, they like to make the metal burn. End up in the system, it's all systematic. Maturing candidates, waving automatics. A product of a project launched in the 80s. Chemical warfare meant to kill the crack babies. Now as the world turns, is it just a story? Cause keeping it real got my sons in purgatory. It's all like jewels. Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Yeah. It's all like jewels. Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Yeah. In between heaven and Hades, like earthquakes in Haiti, the fat lady clears her throat, then plays harp for the baby. They say I'm such a mystic, lyrics are mythic, but I make it so plain with details and specifics. I'm just gifted like that. I'm young and I'm black, so represent the game. I represent the fact that God helps those who help themselves. So when God helps you, He's really helping Himself. Think every day have purpose. It's the science of life. Every breath's another roll. It's a science to dice. Give me the moment. Learn from your mistakes. Try to learn from others. You get one roll at life, you won't get another. You have to learn the tricks, cause some niggas be on the gab. Want some funny business, but that shit will make you laugh. I thought he had the bread, was it wonder not the weed. I'm wondering how it's coming back, cause my connect ain't getting beat. Since y'all like jewels, can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Yeah. Since y'all like jewels, can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Can I drop a jewel? Yeah. Yeah.
That is Jewelry by your man Hakim Green, produced by Ron Lawrence. Let me bring E in. Cliff has stepped away for a second. What up, Coach E?
Gentlemen, how's everyone this evening?
What's up, Coach?
Good, man. Thanks for short notice, agreeing to hop on the show. I was in the gym and I'm like, we gotta do something. Super Bowl was last week. We gotta talk about that. It's a lot going on. Want some energy. He called up Coach E, see what's up.
Yes, Coach E came on because Coach E hurled that blasphemy last week.
Ooh, that's it.
Hey, I was bringing facts. Y'all new school guys, talk this nonsense.
Oh man.
So
I was struggling, Coach E. I was trying to keep a guest.
Everything. So what for the audience, what he's referencing is the other E, the other Eric Nix, who was on our show last week, and he was throwing some things out there, just wasn't really right and exact, and we knew it in the moment, and we didn't do our as host of this show, we should have gotten that. You know what I mean? First of all, Eric Nix, he said the game is predicated on 3-pointers, and in order to win a championship, you gotta be proficient at 3-point, which is not true. You gotta be proficient in the mid-range, and Coach E pointed that out via text. He was like, "Yo, a number of things." Yeah. If you want to take it from here, Coach E, you more than welcome.
I think one of the biggest misperceptions is Steph has changed the game tremendously, and everyone believes that 3-pointers is such a big part of the game. From an analytics standpoint, yes, it's better to score 3-2. We know that, but no one shoots like Steph nor the Golden State Warriors.
That's what I said.
An anomaly. But when you look at teams who win championships, they're mid-range game teams. Milwaukee is strictly a mid-range team. Yes, they kick it out and they knock down open threes, but that's good basketball. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hit open shots. But Giannis is a mid-range, high percentage layup dunk player.
Going to the paint. Yeah.
Chris Middleton is a mid-range game guy. Drew Holiday is a mid-range guy. Can they knock down a three? Yes, because you're supposed to be able to shoot the three as a professional basketball player, particularly as a scorer. But is the game predicated on that and win the championship? No. Phoenix Suns, definitely a mid-range game team. Yeah. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, mid-range guys. The greats that we all love and adore, mid-range guys. Michael Jordan was a mid-range guy. Yes, the game has changed. Kobe was a mid-range guy. Probably one of the greatest centers that we all love. Hakim, mid-range and in. Kareem, mid-range, high percentage shooting. Shaq, mid-range, high percentage shooting. So it's a fallacy, this belief that teams that win now shoot the three. No. Golden State does it. That's pretty much it. And, they have guys who are excellent shooters. KD, probably the most prolific scorer in the game. His game is a mid-range game. Can KD hit threes? Hell yes. Yeah. But his game is predicated on the mid-range, the mid-post, getting to the elbow, raising up, shooting over you. You know, so that was the biggest thing last week that was just driving me crazy.
Yeah. Well, so before you move on and talk about the mid range, can we big up
DeMar DeRozan?
Yes,
DeRozan.
mid-range game.
That's the mid-range. Yeah, he's killing them right now.
Scored 40 plus in 2 games this year without attempting a 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real mid-range game. He's the only one in the league that plays it just that way.
Yep. And that's dominating. He's sitting at the table with Wilt. And that's 7 straight games, 35 plus?
Yep.
And then the 40, he had 40 in there too. And like Cox said, no threes.
No.
Didn't even attempt a 3.
Yeah, so I mean,
5 on you.
It's the mid-range game. You got to be proficient at the mid-range game. The problem is a lot of guys just aren't proficient at it. You know, they can't really shoot the mid-range. They out there trying to shoot the 3. You know, you look at little kids. You go to any tournament or little kid game, and they out there chucking up 3s and can't make a free throw. Have trouble making layups. So that's how Steph has changed the game. And I believe he came out the other day and said, stop faulting me for ruining the game. You know, he's not telling anybody to shoot
it. He didn't ruin the game.
No,
he actually just added another dimension to
another dimension. Yeah.
Another dimension to it, but it's I guess
the game is ruined not by Steph. The game is ruined I wouldn't say ruined, but is the branding of it, right? Because everybody's an individual. When they're in college, they're playing for something, and when they get to the pros, they play for a brand, which is themselves.
Yep.
And so you don't really have the competition factor because everyone is worried about pushing that brand, and they don't have a chip on their resume. Within 2 or 3 years, their brand is getting destroyed in their mind. But there's a process to it all. That's the only thing different about the game.
I mean, and if you look at it, just to kind of elaborate on your point about college, the college 3 is a mid-range shot in the pros.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you're very proficient at the college 3, you're going to be a good mid-range shooter in the pros.
Yeah.
So, analytics is what has destroyed the game.
There was one thing that was said though, and I think my co-host here today would have to give me a little credit because I held my tongue off when he said Magic Johnson would have been an average player in today's league. Average?
That's tough to say. Average. I think he actually probably would have been a more dominant player now.
For sure.
Yeah.
for sure. At 6'9", point guard.
He's Ben Simmons with the ability to shoot.
It was with the will, desire,
and the heart, and the magic.
That's all I was talking about. Was up here that we talk about the game below the neck. It's the game above the neck.
That's all. Each level you go up, it starts when you're little. It starts with your footwork, your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Each level you go up, it by the time you're at the NBA, it's all from the neck up.
Yeah,
that's what the game is.
Yeah, because you figure you filtering it out. Like it's 453 dudes in the league.
Yeah.
A lot of people play basketball, so now you done crushed them all together. Everybody can do what you do. How do you think up here is going to separate you from the people that can just be athletic versus the people that can play basketball?
Yeah. I was watching the I Am Athlete podcast with J.R. Smith on it, and they said they were asking J.R. Everybody thinks J.R. was nothing more than a prolific 3-point shooter. J.R. actually adapted his game to where he was. He was asked to score the ball, shoot threes. When he was with Denver, he was, asked to score the ball. He was a scorer, threes, dunks. That's what he did. Later on, JR became a prolific defender as well and a 3-point shooter because that's what the team needed. And he was trying to do what all of us do, keep his job. So he did what the coach asked. And that's what the game is about. Reason JR is out of the league now because they would want him to be that locker room guy, and mentor these young kids, but he still can score the ball better than most of the guys they would ask him to mentor and to talk to. So it's hard for a lot of guys at his stage in their careers to become that kind of locker room guy and mentor young people. And it's like, hey, I can get more buckets than the guy you asking me to mentor.
Yeah.
Well, how about the fact that the man is going back to college and has eligibility to play golf, which is a mental game, which is up here. So you obviously didn't tap into all his resources when he was in the NBA. You just threw him in a bucket as if he was the thug, weed smoking, tattoo dude. But the guy has he's trying to go PGA Tour style in golf, and he has the eligibility to go back to college to do so. So that takes some type of common sense, some sense.
And also his mentality. One of the biggest misconceptions about JR is that he's this hood dude. JR is suburban to the core, was raised in a suburban community because he had the tattoos and everything. Everybody say, oh, he's a hood guy. And one of the things he brought up in this podcast is that he's trying to get guys to change their mindset, these professionals, from a Eurocentric point of view, which is about self and me, to a Afrocentric mindset of we and the community. And that is frowned upon, So there's not a place for someone who thinks like him and wants to do what he's advocating for. He said when they were in a bubble, they talked about when they had a George Floyd situation happen, and they were talking about what do we ask the owners for? And he was saying, what do you mean? Why are we asking them for anything? Rush, you make over 200 million. Paul George over 150 million. He had two other guys. They were all LA guys, all over 100 million. He said, y'all can get together right now and build gyms right in LA where y'all all are from without asking anybody for anything, and they looked at him like he was crazy because the mindset is to ask the owners for something when he's saying we don't need to ask for anything. We can do it all on our own, And, that kind of mindset is always going to be silenced, and that will not be something that they want in the league or anybody wants to hear from.
Yeah, even with the when you look at people building schools and even like David Robinson, man, he's been like really successful. His after basketball with his school out there in Texas and an academy, and he's growing some great African Americans right there.
Yeah. Yep.
LeBron Without Promise, and Jalen Rose in Detroit, and so even Chris Webber. I mean, he's been doing some real strong work around
things in Detroit.
In Detroit, and he had a museum, African American history. This is like 15, 20 years ago he was doing this stuff,
So Juwan Howard is another one that's a big philanthropist, but they don't really discuss it.
No, because they don't want you to know about those things that they're doing on their own to uplift their communities.
Yeah.
That is without their usage, without them being part of it, and without promoting that me kind of attitude. It was a really good podcast, and I was glad JR touched on many of the topics which he did. But especially somebody who we think of as a 3-point shooter. And of course, he touched on when he got the rebound in the championship and pulled it out. He explained that for the first time. He said they had been in that situation many times, and what they always had done was get the rebound, call a timeout, so they could set up a play and give themselves a chance at a good shot. This was the first time they get the rebound, and they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, what do you mean? What are y'all doing? We always call a timeout in this situation, and everybody made the jokes, the memes, the Hennessy. He's like, I don't even drink Hennessy, So, to say that I'm out there drunk or whatever the case may be was crazy to him, and it hurt him. It really hurt him. But it was good. And of course, I advocate for JR because he's a Jersey guy. So I really support him. But last week was there was some things said that I was like, nah, that's off. That's way off.
People getting I don't say getting their feelings, but they have their way of looking at things, and it's that's what it is to them. But it was good to some clarity, because you were right. We missed out on that one. I was like, we should have dug in. We kind of fumbled the ball on that one, guys.
That's because y'all was so caught up on the Tom Brady stuff that
Yeah.
So listen, what was your opinion on halftime?
it was good to see hip hop, in that environment. Thought it was a good show. Was it the best show ever? No. People still forget about Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson would be 1A and Prince 1B. I mean, Prince performing Purple Rain in the rain. I mean, come on. You can't beat that. And then it stops raining afterwards. I mean, that's divine right there. But I thought it was good for hip hop. It was perfect for LA. That's where it should have been. And it was, I think everyone could relate as fans, and, those of us who, came up during those times, that music, of course we loved it. I liked it. It was good, but it also was part of a really good game as well. Had the game not been good, I think the halftime would have been something that people would say was even better. But it was a great game.
It's funny you say that, because I think you're sitting on. Well, I know Wes wasn't too impressed with the game. He said,
I didn't watch it, so I didn't I didn't see it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. I thought it was a good game. I think it was tight. I thought that the Bengals were going to win.
Yeah,
and I thought they were going to win, and then the Rams come make that push back. But in terms of halftime, I actually thought it was quite amazing. Wasn't the best ever, wouldn't say that. But then relative to what generation you're from, and what you, not everybody's into Prince, not everybody's into MJ like that.
It was top 5. I think
it was top 5. I think it was top 5.
Without a doubt.
Top 5.
And if you talk about the young people I talked to, they dug it too. So I think.
Yeah. But I think messaging wise, coming off the Colin Kaepernick, coming off of the heels of Brian Flores, just everything that's going on nationally, captive audience, the owners are who they are, the quote unquote NFL fan base is that the mainstream fan base. That's eyes and ears are on that right there. And you had Dre, Snoop, Eminem, 50, Mary, Anderson .Paak, Kendrick Lamar, and the messaging, the imaging. It was a gang demonstration on the 50-yard line, gentlemen.
Yeah,
that shit was hot.
Yeah.
Not to promote, I'm to stop the violence, 24 hours of peace guy. I'm not affiliated in any way, shape, or form. However, understanding how the Crips come out of the Black Panther Party, understanding what we saw with Beyonce a few years ago, to have Dre, Snoop, and it was professional. It was tight. It was tight. 50, Kendrick, the dancers were
Yep.
If you really watch what was happening off the heels of everything we saw, Byron Allen and what's the other brother are teaming up to make a bid for the Denver Broncos.
Robert Smith.
Robert Smith.
Yeah. Only hip hop could have done what needed to be done in this moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Like Deion Sanders was talking about in terms of more black coaches. And he was like, we've been going about it all wrong. He was like, we need black ownership, and then we can decide, what have you, and that needs to be our focus, is to own a team, to get to that point. If you want to elaborate on that, what do you think about that? Because again, coming off this halftime, everybody's going, they put us to sleep. It's the okie doke. They're using hip hop to I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact, the Byron Allen thing, and you may have mentioned it last week. One of you mentioned it. I think that Byron Allen is the face or the front of a investment group.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Smith, the difference is it would just be his money. He's a billionaire. You know, so that is a different kind of ownership, you know, than it would be with Byron Smith. And I don't believe where having one would be great. And of course, it's a start and we need that. But I don't know if one owner is going to make a difference because all he can do is really something with his team. It's going to have to be more than one, you know, and what they're doing right now is actually pitting two black people against each other to own one team.
The other thing is that
I thought they were coming together too.
No.
I didn't know they were competing. Separate. Oh, they're competing against one another.
Yes. So I mean, if we want to see
all right, that's the BS.
Yeah, if you want the NFL to really see change, Robert Smith needs to buy a team, and Byron Allen needs to buy a team. You know,
Robert Smith needs to buy the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. And look, you got to give it up to Steve Ross with what he pulled with the Miami Dolphins and hiring the multiracial guy who doesn't even identify.
Yeah, you know. But I think that might be a egg on his face in the long run.
Oh, it definitely will. But you know, he was like, "Oh, I got something for y'all," you know.
But once these allegations, B-Flow's allegations are proven or substantiated, he's out. I mean, Ross is gone. You can't compromise the game like that. I mean, you know, and that's just going to open up more things because that investigation that was that took down Gruden, but that was about the Redskins. I don't think that's over and done with yet.
No.
That's another team that
Dan Snyder.
Snyder's got to let go of that team.
Yeah.
Snyder needs to let go, and I think he might be out.
The Commanders.
Yeah, he's on the hot seat right now.
The Commanders. Yeah. I mean, right? A black owner in DC. Come on, that just makes sense right there. That just makes sense right there.
Hawk, you can't go to common sense.
He'll end up in Tennessee somewhere.
Right.
Hawk, don't get it twisted. Chocolate City ain't as chocolate as it used to be.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I do.
I mean,
but there's still an edge about the DC metro area. And that little, you're right. It's not, gentrified, of course. Yeah, like everything.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's like
I'm talking about Southeast. You can hang out in.
And that's why you need that flair, man. That's not but we'll see what happens with Dan Snyder and his shenanigans. But
the other issue that we're missing is that they have a governing body that votes for the owners to get in. So the money could be on the table, and they can still not get voted in.
That's why I like the Robert Smith thing, because he is at the same level as all those guys. You know, just by himself. Not a ownership group or anything like that, just him alone. You know, he has the money and the finances, and he's in that world. You know, it would be lovely if he, got the Commanders. But it can't. Just getting one with the Broncos. Yes, that's great, and we're going to
start. And that's what we need. That's what they really need to set up, is like a 10-year plan where ownership group or not, they have to be 5 additional new owners, something like that, a plan. What I'm saying? Where you gradually doing it. There's a method, a plan laid out so you can achieve that, because they have the money. They just are not being in no invite, yo. No, y'all can't come. That's all it is. Nah, not here.
And then they throw the money out there. So like y'all both are saying, if you got a guy like Rob Smith that has the money, you can pull the curtain back because you're like, well, the dude is in the same financial stratosphere as these guys, so what's the problem?
Right.
And it puts the pressure right back on them because we know that they're the governing body that votes those guys in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, two things. One, success opens doors, right? And when you own your success, it forces people to copycat, right? So when you take like a big three with Ice Cube, which hats off to Ice Cube, just the gumption to try to have a separate sports league to run alongside of basketball as its own thing. You know, it was good to see. You know, I went to the game in Miami and everybody was on the will call line. Everybody was on the guest list at the American Air. I've never seen anything like it, including your man Hop. So, I take it. But you know, it's just the when you do, like, hip hop is something that we created that was our own thing, and it forced them to come to us. Now we don't own it no more. That's another story. But in the sports world, do we need to create our own thing that forces? Because, you know, over time, whatever we do will be the most popular if it's run and administered properly.
Yes, but here's the thing. Everybody talks about the league is 70% black. What's missing in that is that 70%, they're all workers, and what those players are never taught and what younger athletes are being taught now is financial literacy, entrepreneurship, ownership. They're being taught those things. The 70% in the league right now, most of those guys, they are the ones who actually have the power, but they also, there's a weakness there because they have not utilized their financial resources properly. So I don't know if y'all watched the game. Part of the game season was about the Players Association and them striking, sitting out. And that's how the season ended. The team basically said, no, we're not going to play. You know, they got together and they're not going to play. If guys in the NFL decided we're just not going to play, that would change everything and force ownership's hands. But guys can't do that because most of the guys are spending the money before they get it, not even when they get it, before they get it. So they have bills and everything. So they got to play those games so they can get those paychecks. If we're teaching our athletes to be financially and fiscally responsible, they would have more power and be in a position where if things aren't going the way that benefits them, benefits the community, they can force those changes to be made because they are the ones with the true power. Right now, all power is in the owner's hands, you know, regardless of what the numbers of the players, you know, the color, their skin color, their racial makeup is. You know, the owners know they don't have the power. They need our paycheck.
Well, to what degree are the players replaceable? Because
they're not. They're not actually. That's the crazy part. They're not, because the ones who you're going to replace them with still look like them.
I'm saying, yeah, but that would take white and like it would take, like you said, across all nationalities to stand together.
Yeah,
and because there is no other game in town.
But there is another game in town. What's the new league that's about to start?
Yeah, owned by them.
Owned by them. Yep. So that's going to be another.
I'm talking about there's no other competition that's
and
not
that's
them.
that's where we missed the ball, because we should have been like, oh, let's get ownership in that. It's a new league starting up. Let's get into that. Let's give ourselves an option, you know. But
yeah, you know, the NFL is just, you know, there's nothing. China, right? Big shout out to JT. There's nothing like the NFL in professional sports in America. Like, no. I want to say the world, but maybe soccer is bigger than.
Well, soccer actually in the world is definitely bigger.
Right, right. But the amount of money that the NFL and in all the individual teams are worth are like astronomical. I don't have all the numbers, but it's crazy. Like you and there's so many athletes. There's so many athletes to pick from. That to what degree is it like you're replaceable? Because the stage is the stage.
I just don't believe if players came together and said we're not playing, the NFL
not playing unless what happens?
Unless we get ownership, unless we get, like Cliff said, we got 5 owners on that board. You know, you can't replace those players because who you want to replace them with are more black players.
Yeah, but that's what
but there's gonna be plenty. I mean, I'm with y'all. I know there's just plenty of jokers that will jump.
Yeah, but see, that's why the unification. All this has to be planned, thought out, things in place before they, drop the hammer. Ownership group, all these things in place with everybody unified, everybody in agreement. There's no, scab players ready to take somebody's spot.
There's always a new crop of players coming up. There's always a way to there's always unless you would have an agreement that people make before they're even thinking about playing professional sports. That has to be in their mind.
That's what I'm saying. It has to be done at the high school and college level, and that is being done now. You're seeing that in the especially at the high school level, where these athletes are learning about their power, about their brand, and how they
this NIL is forcing their hand. Yeah, they getting equipped, they getting ready, they get ready to say, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, just in terms of football, you know what I mean? There's like really no other, like basketball, you can go overseas. Basketball, you can, with football, you can play in Canada. Like the holdout, if you're holding out and the owners just go, you know what, I hold out. We've been here before, scab players. Come on, let's go. Get scabs.
You have to collectively, football players have to say, we're not going to play. Whether you're in college, you're a pro waiting for your shot, we're not going to play until we get what we want. Then it will happen.
Five owners that are multicultural.
Imagine if you had some of those guys who went back to Alabama, LSU, Georgia, and give me another school in the SEC. Some of the NFL guys go back and say, look, we telling y'all now, this is what we plan to do. We need y'all to be on board because y'all the next crop. This is going to benefit you. Put it in their minds, set it up now. Then that's the only way to go about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It takes the time and the planning and the unification. And then that's where, everything come together. But there is no quick fix because we're at 1 right now, trying to get 2.
I'm telling you,
1 million is what a half.
If you pull the black coaches out of the NFL, right? The black coaches, they left the NFL, assistants included, and they all parked at HBCU. And some of these coordinators like Leftwich and Bieniemy got head coaching jobs, and Flores, and you get them guys there. It'll cause a trickle down effect because then, like you said, they could start to recruit the right way. And you got Dion there already, and now Dion got a fan club behind him. And so if he's got like 5 or 6 guys that are all parked at 6 different HBCUs, we're gonna have more than bomb threats at these schools.
Well, I think I texted you, Hawk, and I said the moment Flores it came out that he was going forth with this lawsuit. If I'm Howard University, I'm calling him right away. You're hired. You're our head coach. Okay. So now you got income. You have a platform. We're behind you right now. you know, and now you're also educating a new generation once again of players, you know, of how to do things. Because one thing we've seen with him, he's a man of character.
Yeah.
And so you got Dion at Jackson State. You have another former player at an HBCU right now coaching. So it becomes
Eric Eddie George, right?
Eddie George, Tennessee State.
Yep. So, you know, this becomes the norm, and our kids are going to follow them. They're going to follow them, and that's how the change is made. These HBCUs, all right, nobody's giving Brian Leftwich or Eric Bieniemy a shot. We're going to give you a shot, okay? And the talent is there at these HBCUs.
The football, the quality of football, obviously going to be elevated, better product, bigger names. Like you said, the kids will follow them. It's just going to elevate the programs.
Speaking of Eric Bieniemy, is he being set up as the fall guy?
There's some things in his background that they're holding against him when he was at Colorado. Player.
But I also say it went public that Reed was bringing him in to sit down and talk about, you know, his future.
Well, they do that. They do that every year because he's on a 1-year contract.
Okay.
So and you hear that he's the success plan for Andy Reid, but that he's got to wait. Andy Reid don't like he's going anywhere right now.
I mean, so I don't see him as
Eric Bieniemy going somewhere is what I'm saying.
Well, that's what they have.
One coach left too.
That's what they have to talk about. You know, are you willing to wait? You know, or you going to go somewhere else to either be another assistant at another NFL team, or go be a head coach at a HBCU?
That's what I say.
Is it about being a head coach, or is it about being a head coach in the NFL?
Yeah, I think for most people, I can't speak for any one person, but for most people, you want the platform. If you got access to the platform, it's honorable what Brian Flores did, because he's saying basically, I'm falling the sword. I'm willing to sacrifice my own career in NFL to make a statement. You know, but there are talks of him getting another job. It doesn't seem like he's been shut out. So, you know, is it 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Is it, you know, put these people up against the rope so I get what I want? Is it, you know, it's hard to say as we watch it play out. It was interesting to see other shows talk about it. An interesting point was that his law firm is all white.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, why wasn't it the Cochran Group who was representing him? You know,
right.
You know, I thought that was very interesting as well.
Yeah.
You know?
We've been trained. You know, you fight fire with fire. You want to bring them. You want to fight with them. You want to bring them.
Yeah.
You know, that's a little African American. You know, sometimes that backfires, but sometimes it has relevancy. Sometimes you walk to a situation, it's like, you know, oh, we're one of them. All right, you know, I ain't trying to hear you at all. It's just the how they say, the burdens of wearing this skin, ladies and gentlemen, that, you know, you guys, other guys don't have to worry about. You just get kind of. But anyway.
Yeah, I want to see more guys do what Dion has done, and he's laying the blueprint. It's right out there, and you know, I think
even from a player perspective, right? Like the player, that one guy that signed, look at the backlash that came because that player is worth a lot of money to a Power 5 conference team. So they want to make sure they nip this in the bud, because now it becomes 2 players, then it becomes 3, then it becomes 4, and you're like, we're losing $100 million off of 4 players.
And that kid actually just signed a huge NIL deal. If not today, yesterday. So that's gonna change things, because it doesn't matter where you go to school, you still gonna get that NIL money. You know? And if you can get it at Jackson State, think about it. Jackson State isn't Howard, you know, it isn't Morehouse, which is in, you know, these big urban kind of locales with, you know, big businesses. He's down at Jackson State. And
think about it too. He got them on ESPN too. That quick. Like, so the cameras are gonna follow the kids. They don't care about the. They're coming. They're coming.
But Deion did his thing with getting Jackson State on the map anyway, and they were on TV probably 80% of their games, I think. To be honest with you, Jackson State.
And
but
Jackson State, even
they were winning.
About HBCUs, Jackson State wasn't one of the teams you are used to seeing on TV. It was FAMU, it was Grambling. You know, those were the black
Alcorn
colleges,
State.
you know, Alcorn State, you know, those were the ones you would see. Now you got a Jackson State. I think Eddie George is at Tennessee State.
Tennessee State, yeah.
So now
and Doug Williams is still at Grambling, right?
Yep.
You got Grambling now. You got FAMU that's had a dynamic program for years. You know.
And the thing about Doug Williams that's kind of shameful is that you got a Super Bowl MVP quarterback that's black at a black college, and they don't promote him at all because it's sad. Like to think about the stuff that he didn't have when he was in Tampa Bay. He had absolutely
Hugh Jackson's at Grambling. Excuse me.
Oh, Hugh Jackson's at Grambling. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's Doug Williams at now?
Oh, so Doug.
Doug Williams is with the Washington. He's in the offices with Washington.
Oh, he came to because he was at Grambling for a minute, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. But I just still feel like for a guy that won a Super Bowl, and we always bring up like, you know, they don't have this around them, and you know we are quick to run to other people's defense about how they didn't have talent. But that man played for Tampa Bay and was in an NFC Championship with a bag of rocks. And then he threw 5 touchdowns in a Super Bowl, 4 touchdowns in a quarter in a Super Bowl, as if we see that every year.
Yeah. Talk about. And here it doesn't get talked about. They do not talk about that.
We don't even give a blurb about it, like as if it happened every year.
Black History Month, you'll see that. That's about it.
And then when these guys win, they become made men, right?
Yep.
And he's never been made.
No. And the other thing we don't talk about is how many NFL players are actually from HBCUs.
That's crazy.
Especially ton of your linemen, offensive and defensive linemen actually come from HBCUs.
Yeah.
You
no
know,
doubt. Yeah. And it's a lot of skill players, man. Like in the 70s and 80s, bro. A lot of
Charlie
Joyner, cornerbacks, Everton Walls from the HBCU.
Yep.
Oh man, it's like, you know,
hey,
Jerry Rice is from it. Walter Payton's from it.
Walter Payton, Michael Strahan.
The talent
Steve McNair.
The talent has always been there, you know, but we have to capitalize on it, and the NIL is making that possible now. You know, so there's another avenue. We have to, goes back to what J.R. Smith said, we have to get out of the mindset of me, and think of it as us, the community, you know, and what we can do to uplift ourselves. And that's the avenue. It's right there for us. It's right there for us.
Yeah. So what else is on the agenda, gentlemen? I know Cliff has to break out pretty soon. Cliff, I know is anything you want to discuss before you
Well, we gonna jump into basketball.
It's All-Star Weekend, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
it's the trade. We got to touch on the trade, man.
I think the Brooklyn made out, and I think and they made out like the mob. Philly, you know, they're gonna have to wait on Harden, and if they don't get it this year, then is it really worth it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because they traded the 2 first rounds, Ben, Steph, Drummond. They gave
starters.
They gave the Nets exactly what they needed. Brooklyn needed beef in the middle. Drummond is a beast. He's a rebounding machine. They didn't need but can always use outside shooting, and they probably do need it because we don't know if Joe Harris is coming back.
Yeah, I think he has to get another surgery, so I don't see him coming back.
Yeah, so Seth fills that hole right there, and Ben Simmons is gonna be a beast, yo. He fits with them perfectly.
Yeah.
Seth is a better defender and ball handler than Joe Harris.
Yeah,
so he brings a little bit more. And here's the thing, all week they've been talking about the mental health aspect, Ben Simmons and everything. I don't know if any of you gentlemen, I know Hawk has never worked, he's been a hip hop artist, so he hasn't had to work in a toxic work environment. But if you're in a toxic work environment, that is part of mental health, and when you leave that environment, of course, naturally you feel better. You're smiling. People were, bringing up that, oh, he's on the bench. He's smiling now. You're damn right he's smiling. He's happy now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of your mental health. The thing with the Sixers, and this is what's going to happen in the next few months, the Sixers aren't going to win it. From a basketball standpoint, everybody's saying Embiid and Harden will play well together. Actually, they don't fit because Embiid, everybody likes to talk about pick and roll. Embiid is not a pick and roll guy. If anything, he's a pick and pop. And Harden is an ISO guy, so he's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to be dribbling a lot. How much is he going to be giving the ball to Embiid? So from an offensive standpoint, is it going to work? No, it's not. And who's the scapegoat? Doc Rivers, head coach. Who are they going to bring in? Mike D'Antoni. And that is not going to fit with Embiid because the way Mike D'Antoni plays doesn't really include a big man. So that's going to hurt Embiid. So what the Sixers did is really not going to help them. And Harden did not opt in. So he may not sign. And I believe Harden is a selfish player. He's passive aggressive. And he quits on you. He's never been a winner. He's never won his whole life, And so for him to come out and say, I want to be with guys who win, well, when have you won? When it's become tough and you needed to win, you folded throughout your career.
I mean, Kyrie got a ring.
Kyrie got a ring.
Katie got a ring. Katie got a ring.
You the one that wants to win, you're the odd man out, buddy. So I thought that said a lot about him, his character, and who he is as an individual. And I don't know if there's any credence to the fact that Kyrie was beating him in one-on-ones and it really destroyed his confidence. And, Kyrie wasn't even playing, but when he kind of practiced, they played one-on-one and he was just beating him. That hurt his confidence or whatever. He ain't like that. The whole thing with he didn't like Kyrie, the Sage and all that. Why the hell would that bother you? That shows also, once again, you're not
because that Sage exposes bad energy.
Right. You're not in touch with your culture and who you need to be, first of all. So that's another conversation. I'll leave that for you, Hawk. But he didn't. That said a lot about him, I thought. But I just don't see how it works with the Sixers from a basketball standpoint. And Cliff, you right on point. They gave the Nets everything they needed. The Nets had no draft picks. They gave it to them. They gave them a rebounder. So now you got two of the most prolific scorers who can shoot all day long, and they're going to get extra shots now because you got a rebounding monster down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like.
And this is Daryl Morey and Elton Brand still.
I think Elton Brand might still be in the office. Daryl Morey is. I mean, what did Daryl Morey do in Houston? That was great.
Got James Harden.
But everybody he brought in, look at this though. Everybody he brought in to play with James Harden, it didn't seem to work, and it was always everybody else's fault. Chris Paul
worked. Chris Paul worked. He just got hurt, and James Harden didn't want to step up to the party. I mean, it did work.
He folded. He folded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He brought Russ in there. It didn't work. So nobody apparently. The problem isn't those around James Harden. The problem has always been James Harden. In OKC, the problem wasn't Russ and KD. They were doing their all. It was James Harden.
It wasn't James Harden the one that was in the hotel room in Miami.
Well,
Like he wasn't focused on basketball. He was but I gave him a pass because I was like, young fella, a week in Miami, because that's when they did the 2-3-2. So he spent 3 days. That whole week was in South Beach.
Yep.
He just wasn't. He wasn't the same player.
Yeah, he was in the clubs, and I think some on Reddit, some kid did a analysis of James Harden in cities where the clubs, the strip clubs, and everything are prevalent.
Mm-hmm. His game is suffering.
James Harden's games were terrible in those cities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so here's a guy who isn't necessarily focused on winning. If you want to talk about who's a winner, James, it's not you.
And it is Joel Embiid.
Well, yeah, because we know the problem ain't Joel Embiid. There's no problem with Joel Embiid in Philly right now. We know that he's having an all-star, MVP season, doing his thing.
He's put that team on his back because
So now it'll be clear that it's James and his negative gang coming with the baggage that he comes with. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I gotta bounce, fellas. I'll see y'all next week. Peace out.
All right, take care.
Salute, bro.
With Tracy McGrady made a comment about James Harden when they showed him at the Sixers practice facility working on step backs, and he said, "Look, I've had many hamstring injuries. The one thing you're not working on is step backs because that puts all the pressure
on your
hamstrings.
Yeah.
So how badly is your hamstring really hurting?
It's all game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he just really he packed it in because he wanted to trade. He, basically, it was his passive aggressive approach. I'm going to sit out until I get what I want.
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you, right? And both of you guys, but I agree that Ben Simmons is a good fit in Brooklyn, right? I think that's a perfect fit. He's not going to be asked to be a scorer the way he's going to be a scorer. He's going to be asked to defend, distribute, and however, we talked about the mental health. I understand that too. But I guess I don't want to mince words. Did I miss something that happened in Philly prior to him struggling from the free throw line, or all this mental health stuff came up after? Because my opinion is that in the postseason in Brooklyn, he's still going to be sagged off of. He's still going to be fouled in the fourth quarter, and he's still going to have to go and face the demons that he needs to face. So is that a Doc Rivers issue, an Embiid issue, a Sixer issue? And is mental health convenient because you wanted to get out of Philly? Because I don't discount that he has mental health. I'm just saying I don't know when did it occur? Like when was his mental health problems? When did they come about? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think from a coaching standpoint, I think it was Doc Rivers threw the kid under the bus.
Yeah, but okay, so I get that. But what I'm saying is, prior to Doc Rivers throwing him under the bus, right? Can we at least get Ben Simmons? Because Ben Simmons to me is really no different than James Harden. He's running from something that he did. Doc Rivers did throw him under the bus, but he didn't make the free throws. He didn't shoot. He wasn't an offensive option. And then the turmoil came, and now we have mental health. I want out of Philly. And I'm just trying to figure out, like, from that perspective, I don't think Doc Rivers should have thrown him under the bus. So I want to be clear on that, too. I think what Doc Rivers did was wrong. But that's not there was a reason why Doc Rivers went down that road, because Doc hadn't seen a pro just not want to shoot a basketball like that. So I'm just curious, does he think that it's going to be different because of what? Because that situation is still there that needs to be solved. That hasn't changed. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think it's as a coach, you have to give your players confidence and you have to believe in them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the free throw thing is a big deal, to be honest. As long as he's willing to drive and be fouled, he'll be okay. Whether he makes or misses them.
But that's my point. I agree with you, but he didn't even want to do that.
Right, and I think that comes back to coaching. Look, it's all right. It's okay. You go in there, you play your game, keep doing what you do. You know, I got will rebound the misses or whatever. But the other thing of being fouled, it puts pressure on the other team too, because you got players getting in foul trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think he used the mental health aspect. That was a way for them not to fine him as well.
Yeah. Now I'm saying, I don't disagree with you. I think the guy has talent, but I also, even what you said about the coaching, I still feel like Doc was supporting him up until that point, because he said he kept him in the game, because there are people I know that were like, well, Doc Rivers blew the series. I was like, well, he kept Ben Simmons out of there. He's like, my point exactly. He should have benched him. He didn't do that. He kept him out there. So he was like, he's going to come around soon. That's what he was saying in those post games early. And then in game 6, when they were done, he was like, I don't know what to say. So that's my only thing I'm confused on.
Can you remember in those games against Atlanta that they lost, they were up 20-some points.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons not shooting or missing
had nothing to do with it.
Had nothing to do with
that.
Nothing to do with that.
No.
So I think Ben Simmons can continue to play the way he's been playing. And we will see. This is about his mental fortitude, you know.
It's about accountability.
We don't know. We don't know that aspect of it.
Yeah, we don't know that, but I still feel like Doc blew the series on his own.
Yeah.
Right. But Ben did what he did on his own.
Yes.
And he piggybacked on Doc's inability to win that series, as if in the Doc's comments after the series was over, to say that was the reason why he didn't do what he did, and that's not fair.
No,
so
it's not. I agree with you there.
That's all I'm saying. I don't think that he's a bad player. I don't think he's a bust. I think he fits in perfect with Brooklyn, but I still feel that whatever he was running from, he's still gonna have to face that within himself anyway. You know.
Yeah.
And it may not be at the free throw line, but
hopefully that is what he has worked on. And you know, I think you have to, as a player at that level or at any level, it's all about confidence. Where's his confidence? Are they going to support him, his teammates, his coaches? You know, I believe it will be different in
Brooklyn.
I think Steve Nash is different in his approach and how he deals with players. So I think that is going to help him. And I just think he needs to be out of that environment. Because the first thing, if you're dealing with your confidence, having issues, you can't be with a guy like Embiid, who's a troll, who, you know, think about this, the way Embiid is on social media, just imagine how he is in the locker room. Imagine what he's saying to you, like, yo, man, you can't make a free throw. You know, you can't do this. You can't. Imagine just how he's treating his teammates, you know, locker room. You know, the only way
again, we grew up with that. That made us better players.
But here's the thing. Some people will kill you.
Yeah.
Like you can't push everybody's buttons.
But the same way.
Yeah.
True.
Right.
I agree. I agree.
And you know, that when you talk about mental health, you know, I think the whole mental health thing was fugazi. No disrespect.
Yeah, we said that when you.
I thought it was fugazi.
Yeah,
and
it was to keep him from being fined.
But it was understandable though, in the sense that, you know, okay, he has an issue. We recognize, right? He has to confront, and he felt like he was being thrown under the bus, and he was being scapegoated. Right? I definitely understand all that. Right?
I agree with that.
Right?
Yep.
You know, but there comes a point that you go, given the circumstances, I could see why motherfuckers is salty at me. Like you look at look what happened, bro. Just look at it.
That's all I'm saying.
No, it wasn't your fault.
No.
But look at your part in
you had a role in it.
You had a major role. That and here's what Young, like you not getting that off on Trae Young is like, that's it. Like, why did you? And that's been his thing. His whole career is he chooses not to shoot in certain moments. It's got to be like, is it confidence or is it just a quirk?
I think it's twofold. I think it is confidence. At that point, I think it was confidence. But here's the thing: as a coach, a game never is about one play. And everybody is really putting it off. You know, everybody talks about the play. He gets to the rim and he throws the pass. They lost a 20-point lead.
Yeah, no, that they didn't lose because of that play.
No,
that
right.
had zero to do with it.
No,
to us, yes,
yeah,
right.
But to everyone else, it was that play. Oh, why didn't he shoot it? But what about the 10, 15 other plays that transpired where they didn't defend well and where they were missing shots to allow a team to come back from 20 points?
Yeah.
And Simmons was not responsible for that. So that was a team loss.
No,
specifically defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, that, and I understand his probably if you're fragile mentally, yo, why is everybody putting this on me? We lost a 20-point lead. Nobody's talking about that.
Yeah.
They're talking about me passing and me not taking a shot. Damn, that's one play out of 15.
But we watched this. We watched. I think that the minds here watch a little bit more than just that stuff, right?
Yeah.
I watched Ben Simmons get the ball and give it right back to somebody and get out the way a lot in that series.
Right.
I watched him run away from the action a lot in that series.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that was the reason why they lost. But what I'm saying is that whatever issue that was, and whatever Embiid's reaction was, and Doc Rivers' reaction was, it was the proximate cause was that he would. It was the cause was Doc Rivers couldn't coach. That was one cause.
Yes.
But the other piece of him getting the ridicule that he got was because even as a player, if you play with somebody, you like you know who you know what the guy's doing. You on a team with him. You like what's going on? Like you know that. So I just said like I just feel like there has to be a piece of it because I don't hear it coming out of any camp. Ben Simmons, that hey, I got to be better than that too.
Yeah,
that's all.
And
I think it's over.
I think that'll happen with the Nets. I think that will happen.
I hope it does. Nets. But his sake,
he got Patty Mills. He's got what's the brother in the front office that's from Australia? There's somebody.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah,
right. So there's
Mark,
like that.
Mark.
Thank you. And like I just think that you put him in positions where he can be successful.
Yes, that's what a coach. That's what a coach does. You put your players in a position to be successful. And have we seen? We didn't see that from Doc Rivers. But
he was a walking double-double. We saw it all season. They were a great team in the regular season. So
and here's the thing: Ben Simmons still is a walking double-double, but he's
triple-double. Really,
he's not a points rebound double-double. He's a rebound assist double.
He's a 10 points. He's a triple-double. Really, he's a 10-point, 13 assists, 12 rebound triple-double.
Right.
That's what he is.
Right.
The points are going to be the lowest all the time.
Yes, all the time. And that's who he's been his whole life.
But he wasn't that in the postseason. He was a 0, 5, and 7 guy.
Right.
So
that to me
has to change.
Something else because he's
coaching.
Not doing those things that he's exceptional at. Rebounding and passing.
Yeah.
So that's a coaching that to me is coaching. Because look, Ben, you know what? We don't even need you to score. We need you to make sure you get the ball to those guys in position so they can score. We need you to rebound.
Right.
And we need you to defend. That's what he does.
That's what he does.
No, and I don't disagree with that.
Score is asinine from a coaching standpoint, especially after you done lost a 20-point lead. Now you're gonna ask a non-scorer, oh, I need you to score now. That's bad coaching.
Right.
You asked me to do something I've never done my whole life.
Okay, can I switch gears on you right fast?
Sure.
Yeah.
But since we're in Brooklyn, the mandate, Kyrie with the mandate, pressure's being put by Silver. NBA is going, okay, it doesn't make sense. It's time to lift the mandate. What's your opinion on that?
Article just came out. Actually, Mayor Adams said, no, it doesn't make sense. But he said he has an issue with the larger ramifications of he's grappling with changing it because of the ramifications it could have on the city. He doesn't want it to go back to where the city was, and if they have to shut down, that's what he's dealing with. But he said it doesn't make sense. The governor has already come out and lifted the mask and unvaccinated mandate in the state of New York.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's on Mayor Adams. What is he going to do? I think it's going to change. I think he's going to change it because it has such a huge effect on other avenues of the city. Having to let go of first responders who are unvaccinated. So I think he's going to have to change it. And this is just something that is part of that bigger scheme of things that's going on in the city. But it never made sense. And this actually goes back to what Kyrie was saying from the beginning. People are losing their livelihoods, because they make a choice, whatever their reason was, and they can't work, and they're not given a choice. If you want, you can have it where these guys are tested more or whatever the case may be, but you're letting these other guys come in and play. How can you not let Kyrie play? It just doesn't make sense. I don't think, I don't know if Devin Booker is vaccinated yet. I know Bradley Beal wasn't, but they could play when they came to New York. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And I think it will be changed. I think the money that is involved, with the Nets organization right now, and the possibility that you're basically telling them we're taking the championship away from you, by not allowing this guy to play. But the opposing playoff team could have somebody who's not vaccinated come in and play every game. It doesn't make sense.
Nonsense.
I think it will be changed. I think the mayor will change it ultimately. Like I said, the state has already made the change. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's just weird because going back to 2019, 2020, we've never seen anything like that in our lives before.
Right.
There's no way to prepare, so to speak, and on the fly come up with a system to accommodate everybody's, like we literally people, you don't have the right to on a ventilator. Yeah, your rights go out the window.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, to some degree. So it's just. But I always thought by April it would open up. I thought by playoff time they would shut it down.
Yeah.
He'd be able to play. Yeah, I always thought
because I think Kyrie will only play 8 more games after the All-Star break. The way it stands right now. So.
And when is KD back?
KD
after the All-Star break, right?
After All-Star break. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how's it looking in the East overall? Brooklyn's like in 9th place, right about 8th or 9th place. They've been on and we know why. Even though that was a big win over New York the other night, that was exciting.
Yes,
that was a great game.
The Knicks. That was sad
in the guard. He's ran,
yeah.
Second, third string jokers just ran up in there, just sign contract today,
yeah,
and put it on the Knicks right fast.
the rookie kid had 16 in the fourth quarter.
Man, what's his name? What's the brother's name?
Cam
Thomas. Oh, man. I think it is Thomas.
Yeah,
I got it. Right.
You can't have a rookie come in and do that at the Garden. That's not supposed to happen.
It was.
Excuse me.
Cam Thomas had 21 points.
Ooh.
Yep, 16 in the fourth quarter.
Coming out party on the New York Knicks.
Yeah, that was just sad. You know.
And Seth dropped 20.
Mm.
And Aldridge had 18 and 10.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, look, if the Nets, if those guys continue to play like that when KD comes back, you insert Ben Simmons now, and you got Kyrie, they're tough. I'm still not a believer in Miami, who's at the top of the East right now, even though they're tough.
The Bulls are number 1 right now, but Miami's number 2.
Yeah, like I'm not and the Bulls are doing it with Lonzo out hurt.
Yeah.
Is Zach LaVine back yet?
He comes back the next game, I think.
Yeah.
After All-Star, he comes back.
Yeah.
You know, so they've been doing it with those guys out hurt. So that's a little scary.
Yeah.
You know,
the Cavaliers are the team that I've been like really impressed with.
Yeah, because they're young and they're doing it. You know, they were supposed to be basically at the bottom of the conference.
And quietly, Philly's kind of got it together. I mean, not Philly. The Celtics have started to pull things together.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah,
they have. You know, I think the East is tough. And nobody's even talking about Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee's third. They I mean, the clip they ran on the Lakers was ridiculous. They ran the Lakers out the building.
Yeah, no one's even talking about them, and I think they've just gotten better.
Yeah,
they did.
I did. I don't think so. Yeah.
So it's going to be the East is going to be a war. It's going to be a war. Whoever comes out of there.
And then when you think about it, the problem with the East is that if you got the Raptors, the Nets, the Hornets, and the Hawks in those play-in games, right? And the Nets and the Hawks as a play-in opponent, they win their games. They got to play like the Bulls don't want no parts of Brooklyn in the first round.
No, and I think the Nets are actually okay being at the lower end.
Yeah, they are.
You know,
yeah.
Like, all right, yeah, we get to go ahead and now instead of having to play one of those teams in the conference finals,
play early,
way early.
Let's go get them now.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you get Kyrie and KD together, working, clicking. Brooklyn's coming out of the East, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because they're unguardable. They're unguardable.
Like, they are.
What you gonna do? You can't. And even if Simmons doesn't shoot, doesn't do anything, you got to double one of them when they got the ball. So if you double KD, that means Kyrie is in single coverage.
Yeah.
You double Kyrie, KD's in single coverage.
Yeah.
So one of them scoring.
Yeah. I think you're right. The East is the tough conference because when I look at the West, I see 3 teams that's fighting to get to the finals, and that's Phoenix, the Golden State, and the Grizzlies. And I say the Grizzlies with utmost respect because I just feel like that fella right there.
Yeah,
he's not trying to go home. He's not trying to go home. And we're gonna see every aspect of his game in the postseason. We're gonna see it. So I don't see nobody from 4 through 10 upsetting any of those 3 teams on the top.
Yeah, not at all. You know, Ja Morant is built different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't make them like that.
No.
Like
that young fella is built different, and you hit the nail on the head. He is not trying to go home early this year. You know. So
but they got 41 wins. Memphis has won 41 games before the All-Star break. That's not a mirage. That is Ja Morant.
Yep. And they were even winning when he was out. So they're different. Their mentality is a little different now. They believe in themselves now.
Yeah. And they got the ultimate closer, man. They got the ultimate closer.
Yep. Yep.
Like, to me, I look at I got Chris Paul and Devin Booker, and I got the Splash Brothers, but I'm a roll with that dude just because of the way he built a little different than everybody else. Like, I'm just gonna roll with that dude right there because, he reminds me of Allen Iverson, man.
Yeah.
Like, it just, but with a better shot and a more team-oriented game and a better defender. So his game, and it's no disrespect to AI. AI was the man. I mean, but John Morant, that's who. When I think about games, I think about AI when I see him play.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I love what he's doing. I love what Memphis is doing. And they're confident. They believe in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul is going, I think, will Phoenix, probably back to the finals, at least the conference finals.
At least the Western Conference Finals. It's gonna be one of those three. Those two of those three teams is playing in the Western Conference Finals.
Yep.
I know with Phoenix, you got Chris Paul, Devin Booker, of course, but I think Ayton's going to be real huge for Phoenix in the playoffs.
Yeah, and
I think last year's experience probably matured him a great deal.
And he didn't get his money.
It is playing well for them. Look, they
motivated.
Yeah, they definitely are. Phoenix, and they have, I think, one of the best coaches in the league.
Hands down. Period.
Really overlooked what he does with that group.
Listen, we forgot about what their owner did because of Monty Williams.
Yeah, came in co-sign for him. Just run around. You can run around using the N word.
He separated the players from all that, and it's been basketball. They lost 10. They 48-10.
Yeah. Kept it moving.
Kept it moving. So I think those three teams are going to be there, no problem. What I do want to talk about is one thing, and I have to do it because I have to. We got to give flowers to my boys at RU for beating 4 ranked teams in the last 4 games.
Yeah.
4 ranked teams.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's big. That's a good
that's huge. Because I've always felt Rutgers
Scarlet Knights, right?
Would always break your heart,
Yeah.
But look, Rutgers has always been tough at home.
Yeah.
It's always been hard to beat Rutgers at home, regardless of what kind of team they had, what kind of talent.
Yeah, the RAC was a tough place to go and play.
Now they've gone on the road a couple times and won some huge games.
Yeah.
I think their next game is at Purdue, maybe.
Yeah, they beat Purdue, and Purdue was number 1.
Yeah,
early in the year.
If they can beat Purdue at Purdue, they saying something. They really saying something.
Yeah, I think last year, even though I didn't pick them, I picked them to win that first game in the tournament, and I picked them to lose to Houston, and they should have beat Houston. They beat themselves in that Houston game. That was they played not to lose. They didn't play to win.
Yep.
And they stopped playing at the 4-minute mark. They stopped playing basketball, and they ended up losing the game. But I think that experience, plus the fact that I think that the players that they had last year, the one that's missing is the kid from Houston himself, Young, left. And I always felt like his game was good, but with the players on the Rutgers team, he played too fast, and he forced them to play too fast.
Right.
And I think their games that they play now, they all are very cerebral players. They're not the most athletic guys out there. They gotta use their guile to be effective, and they slow the pace down. They work the shot clock, and they get their shot every time.
And what they've done this year,
Coach, before you go, can I just big Wes up? Guile.
Yeah, that was nice.
Guile was nice. It was fly right there.
That was nice.
Guile.
I think what the big change that Rutgers has made is they put the ball in Paul McCahey's hand, and his strength, which he's a distributor. He knows how to run a team. He plays a very high IQ game, and that's what they needed. Like you said, last year they had a guy who's going fast that they weren't built for that.
Now
they're playing, and it fits their talent. and it fits what they're good at. And McKay is a 6'7" point guard.
He's a 6'7" point guard, and he plays at his pace.
At his pace. Yep.
He can go in the post and start the offense, or he can start the offense from the top of the key. Yep. So it's like it's perfect. So I just been watching him, and I'm like, man, I don't think they're gonna win a national championship, but I just like the way the program is going.
Yeah, and they're firmly on the bubble right now, and I think if they get in the tournament, I think they could surprise somebody. I think they could surprise somebody depending on the draw. But the way they're playing, man, they look good. They look good.
They look like they're gonna be tough. I think they got to get to 18 wins to get into the tournament.
Yeah.
What
18 wins with five ranked team wins on your resume. But then what they did wrong was they have 5 bad losses too.
Yeah.
They lost to Lafayette. They lost to Northwestern. They lost to
Navy or one of those.
Somebody. It was like they had 5 bad losses. They lost to Maryland, and Maryland's not that good this year. So it was a couple of bad losses with all those good wins. But
they got
what he's doing over there.
Games in the Big Ten tournament as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that'll solidify things for them. If they get to the semifinals, or if they get to the finals, definitely they're in. But they get to the semifinals in the Big Ten tournament, they're good. That might wipe away those early season losses, because they were still, I think, trying to find their identity early on.
Yeah. I think they were trying to figure out who they were without Young.
Yep.
And I think, like I said, when I watch the player McKay and Harper, I watched them last year to this year, and they played fast because he played fast.
Yeah.
And they're not built to play fast.
They're not built for that at all.
Nah.
And
they look so much better. They all look smooth right now. Geo Baker he's the closer. He's a guy that can get his shot off at any time, and he's not moving that fast, but he's calculated. He has a good release, and he can get shots off at awkward angles. So, that's a weapon.
Yeah, and they got a solid big man. Who can't play fast.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a slow down game for him to be effective.
Then they got Pat Mahomes playing defense. I always I like that fella. He's number 22, but he's a grinder, real grimy with it, and he just all over the floor and stuff like that. So they got a nice nucleus.
Yeah, and they play like they play like a Jersey team should. They're gritty. They're gonna grind the game out. That's Jersey basketball. And that's the identity they have right now.
Yeah, yep. But I had to give my alma mater a shout out.
No doubt. Big shout out to the Scarlet Knights, Rutgers University. Jersey, go Jersey. Anything Jersey, we support.
Yes, sir.
1,000%. State school right there. Gotta get love. But we're gonna talk about these Lakers, or you're just gonna let that slide?
I'm a Lakers fan, so I would prefer you let it slide.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hey, actually, read an article today. Coach K's book is coming out, and they talk about at the Olympics 2008.
Yeah.
When Kobe was being Kobe, and LeBron came off the floor and said to Coach K, "Yo, you got to talk to this motherfucker," and of course, you don't necessarily say that to Coach K. But Coach K had a conversation with Kobe, showed Kobe some things he was doing that it was, some bad shots and stuff. And Kobe was like, "Oh yeah, all right, I got you. Say no more." Later on, LeBron was doing some things and it was disrupting the team. And Coach K had to have a talk with LeBron. And that's what really brought the team together, because no one had ever spoken to or had a conversation with LeBron like that. And, guys had never seen that before, and it kind of got them all together as a team. Like, oh, okay, this guy's really coaching us, and he doesn't care who you are. You know your accolades or none of that stuff. He's coaching us to win, and that goes to LeBron. In every situation he has been in, wants to be the GM, the coach, and the player. And that's why the Lakers are in the position they are in right now, because this is all LeBron. A lot of other people would be scapegoated. Westbrook could be scapegoated. Vogel would be scapegoated. But LeBron wanted Westbrook there. You know, that's the guy he wanted. They should have got Buddy Hield. He would have been a better fit. They could have had DeMar DeRozan. He would have been outstanding there. He was willing to take a pay cut. But they GM LeBron wanted Westbrook. Why? Somebody's going to have to ask LeBron that, because he doesn't fit with LeBron's style of play, nor does he fit with AD. Like, he just doesn't fit. So what was LeBron thinking to bring in Westbrook above those other guys? You know, and I think the issue in LA is LeBron. And look, LeBron is playing great, and he always does. You can never take anything away from his individual ability and what he does. But as a leader, I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer in him as a leader. You know, I think he wants too much. He wants to control every aspect of a team, and that's not going to work. You know, and I know he's probably your favorite player, Hakim, the GOAT to you.
Nah, he's not the GOAT to me.
GOAT,
oh, no.
But he's definitely his favorite player in the league right now. But he's not the GOAT.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, but I just the way that the Lakers are built, they're not built to win, because they don't defend. And even if you put Avery Bradley and say Trevor Ariza out there as defenders, their guys are still going to outscore them, and you can't make up those points. You know, it's never going to happen. If Avery Bradley's guarding somebody, Avery Bradley gets 5. The player he's guarding, instead of getting 25, might get 20. That's a 15-point deficit you got to make up somewhere.
Yeah, you can't keep them on the court. They're liabilities. Him and Ariza are liabilities.
Yep. And now you can go ahead and double. You can double AD. You can double LeBron.
You can't double AD right now.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Oh, well, no, he's out hurt.
Exactly.
You know, and so if you now you can double those two, which is going to keep their point total down. You're still not making the 15 points up you lost at Avery Bradley's position, or say Trevor Ariza's position.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the white boy that's playing now?
AR-15.
Boston Reeves.
Reeves is going to give you what?
9 points.
9 points. That's not doing much for you.
No.
You know, so they're just not in a position from a talent standpoint to win. You know,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and will it ever be games where AD and LeBron both have 30? No. You know, one might have 30, the other might have 25.
24, 25.
You know, and they don't defend well enough. I mean, looking at it that way, you got to play somewhere in the 90s, low 100s.
Mm-hmm.
Who in the West plays in the low 100s?
No.
You know, so.
And the team that you got to play that's in those top 3 seeds: Ja Morant, Steph Curry, and Chris Paul. You don't have nobody on your roster that can guard any one of those 3 players.
Nope.
That's the bottom line. And that's who you got to beat. So, and
not going.
LeBron already knows. For me, I always, like you said, I think he's always going to get his points. He's always going to get his stats and everything like that. So
you
can't deny it.
This season is a wash.
It's a wash.
but he played. So I feel like for me, I feel like he's playing with the house's money in his mind because he knows he got Russ and AD as scapegoats in his mind. Like, and so he can go out there and just be carefree because there's no pressure because he can always make an excuse. Well, Russ didn't do this and AD got hurt. So I go out there and get 30s, 10 and 10. And everybody look at me like, it's my, if they would have played, it's the narrative that it wasn't going to happen with Westbrook. You weren't going to win with Westbrook.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And you know that AD, you already know who AD is. You spent 2 seasons with this man.
Yeah.
You already know what he is already. He's gonna be second fiddle, and you don't want to say nothing about it, but you actually like that because he's not coming for your spot. Yep. He really not. He don't pose you no threat at all. He gonna sit there and say, come on, bro, chill, man, chill, bro. Listen, LeBron likes that.
Yes.
He likes that.
LeBron loves being big bro.
Yeah.
He revels in it, and he wants guys around him that puts him on that pedestal. That was the problem with him and Kyrie. Kyrie wasn't going to be like, yeah, big bro. And Kyrie's like, yo, I'm just as good as you.
Yeah. But on basketball, when you get on the basketball floor, the big bro stuff goes out the window. People want to compete. And it's even if it's like, even with him and Dwayne Wade, people don't want to talk about it. They were bumping heads.
Yes.
Because Dwayne Wade is that same type of aggression, like and he can't get to that level in terms of here. He talks about it all the time, and I always feel like Dwayne Wade, Jordan, AI, Kobe, John Morant. They didn't talk about their mindset. They just did they did it. They don't remind you about that stuff. So it's like, great player. I get it. Great. 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 Has all the numbers. Will have every single number possible in basketball. But it's like I said, it's something about what he did to the Lakers. It makes me not even want to watch anymore because there is a shipwreck heading to the bottom of the ocean when he decides to walk away.
And you know what makes it even worse? He pushed the Lakers to get Westbrook, and they gave up so much. So even if, say, they don't make the playoffs, they don't even have a lottery pick that comes out of being.
They done.
Yeah, they traded him.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to dig out of this hole.
Hold on. He got a chip though.
Yeah, he got a chip, and I think
a chip. That's it.
I think he's okay with that. I think he's okay with that.
The Lakers had one of the chip.
I got a chip.
Lakers had won a chip and weren't
set up
and weren't set up to win a chip before LeBron got there. He won a chip.
And I believe happy with that. The other thing I think he wanted to do in a Lakers uniform, I think he wanted to break Kareem's record in a Lakers uniform. You know, and he's going to do that. And then he's going to screw the Lakers because he's going to leave.
He's going to walk away.
He's going to go to wherever or whoever drafts his son.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's exactly what's going down. It's going down in that order too.
Yep.
What if it's the Lakers? Know that. What if the Lakers draft Bronny?
They don't have no draft picks.
But this is what year are we talking about?
We're talking 2 years away. I don't think the Lakers have a first round draft pick to like 2027.
He might not be.
Wasn't Kuminga one of Bronny's? Kuminga came from that camp too, right?
No. Kuminga is he played in Jersey. He played his high school ball in Jersey. Okay,
I thought it was one of the ones that run around with Bronny is in the league now. He's got drafted.
Zaire Williams.
Zaire, that's okay. I do. Okay.
Yep. He played with Bronny at Sierra Canyon.
Got you.
You know. Yeah, no. LeBron had set this up. They lucked up and won the championship in the bubble. You know,
the bubble chip.
The bubble.
Yo, she's launched a potato chip brand called the Bubble Chip.
The bubble chip.
And you know, and I think Magic saw a lot of this. You know, and that's why he was like, you
Get
know
out
what?
the way.
I need to leave this alone.
I'm getting out the way.
Because it's going to come down to me and LeBron. And he didn't want that either, you know. So he backed off, he walked away. You know, Rob Pelinka is not a GM, but he's just going to do whatever LeBron
He's
wants.
an agent. He's an agent, so he works for the players. That's it.
So
he don't work for the team.
He did whatever LeBron wanted him to do, whether it made sense or not. Because I think anyone with a basketball mind would have been like, nah, Russ don't work. That just don't work from any kind of basketball, you know, standpoint you want to look at. However you want to play.
Yeah, but Buddy Hield on the table.
Yep.
They had DeMar DeRozan at one point on the table.
Yeah. The first thing I said when they got Westbrook, I said, "Oh, he's gonna be the scapegoat."
Yep.
That was the first thing I said.
Yeah,
he's gonna be the scapegoat the whole year. He's gonna be the scapegoat.
You said that. You did call that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's the same dude. Only he playing in LA now, where you get to see him every day.
Yep.
and they're gonna talk about it on Undisputed every day.
Yeah,
you know.
You see the meme. You see the meme. It was I guess Russ was playing in either Houston or Washington. And whoever's playing D on him is back, and for the Lakers is backed off like 20 feet, right? And it was like, can you believe that they played defense on him like this beside it being a good idea to bring him in?
Yeah, I mean, it made no sense at all, you know. But he will be the scapegoat, and they can't trade him because nobody's taking that $44 million. You know, the only one that possibly could be traded is AD.
Yeah.
But he's hurt so much, you know, who's going to take him?
The Knicks.
The Knicks just might. You're right about that. The Knicks just might.
The Lakers bring back Julius Randle back to LA, right?
Oh man.
They should. They would do that too. They would do that. You know, I just think LeBron is a team. I think he's a team killer because he wants to control every aspect of a team.
Mm.
You know, when guys aren't playing the way he wants them to play, oh, you got to trade them. It's never me because he, like you said, Wes, he's always going to get his numbers.
Yeah, he can like even when they won the championship, and I was saying against Cleveland when he was in 16, I said, you know, he was 35, 15, and 7 in the finals the year they lost when Kyrie got hurt, right? He was 35, 14, and 8 the next year, and Kyrie was getting his 24 game. The difference was Kyrie Irving. You put the same numbers up. It was no different.
Yep.
And he pulled the Ben Simmons on that last play. So Kyrie got the rock, and he was on the other side of the court.
Yep. Because hey,
come on,
LeBron and Ben Simmons mentally are the same players. They don't want to take that last second shot. LeBron will take it if he's forced to, but he really don't want to take it. He want to drive and dish it to somebody else, so they take it. So he will never be the scapegoat.
That hurt my feelings. That hurt my feelings right now.
Let me ask you this, Coach.
Blasphemy.
I sent this text out last Saturday. I sent this text out on Saturday night, right? So 117, 114, 2.4 seconds. LeBron takes that shot, gets fouled. I said, there's nobody on this text vine that think he's making all 3 of these free throws.
Right.
and he killed, no drama. He missed the first one right off the bat. That's it.
Yep. And then his coach, his mogul, next day says they got to make 25 free throws. 25 free throws is not going to help you. Like, that's a warm-up.
Yeah.
You know, that's not going to help you. If you really want to send a message to make free throws, make them shoot 500. But shooting 25 free throws, that's a little warm-up. That does nothing. That's just pissing them off. You kept them after practice for an extra 10 minutes.
He really said 25, yo.
Yeah, he said 25.
That's all.
Yeah. That's that. Hey, I do that with little kids right now. You know.
Yeah.
Man, that's sad. That's sad.
I remember
That's
Riverside Church as a 11-year-old or 10. I think I was 11 or 10, and I go to a tryout, and he said left hand layups, and I had both hands on the ball, and I put it up like this, and I like hit the corner of the rim, and it came down. He didn't say nothing. Then I came back, and I was like, well, all these other dudes is doing it. I gotta make one in the layup line, and I kind of put it up, and I put it up my right hand. He said laps, right?
Ooh.
I came back, got it back in line. He said left hand layups. Put it up again, missed it, came back, tried to do it the right hand again. He gave me do another lap. The third time he told me again, he said, go get your bag, get your stuff. See you later.
Yeah.
Done.
I thought that was crazy. You asking pros to shoot 25 free throws. That's a waste of time.
Yeah, you would never have to tell Kobe Bryant that.
Right.
No.
First of all, Kobe Bryant
Kobe
Bryant not missing.
Kobe Bryant making those 3 free throws.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, your man Shannon be pulling up mad footage of Kobe Bryant missing shots.
He does.
Yeah.
All right.
He did miss a lot of shots.
Kobe missed. Not only did Kobe miss a lot of shots, but Kobe also took a lot of contested shots he probably never should have taken.
Absolutely.
But he believed, like Jordan, he was going to make every one of them.
Yeah.
You know, that's the belief. You know, LeBron and Ben Simmons are the same player. If you ask Ben Simmons who his favorite player is, I bet you he'd say LeBron. Who he patterned his game after, he probably say LeBron. And remember, everybody thought that Ben Simmons would be who the Lakers went after because Rich Paul was representing them. And they thought that's who LeBron, because LeBron's very close to Ben Simmons, they thought that's who they would bring in to play. Imagine how crazy that would have looked.
Yeah. I don't you take it. I don't want it.
I want you take you shoot it.
And then AD like this. Y'all stop playing, man.
Right.
from the sideline with his suit on.
Street clothes.
Nah,
stretching man.
We can't ever take anything away. But when we look at the numbers and stuff like that, and everybody always talks about, like, when I look at like Westbrook, right? The first argument you get out of people is that he a stat like builder, right? So, but the league is built around stats now. So across the board, everyone gets stats, right? So there goes the argument only works for Westbrook, but not for everybody else who does the same stat padding, right? So then we go in to chase a guy like Kareem, and it's not that Kareem was the best player ever. But when we talk about Kareem's points, and I look at the fact that Kareem played X amount of games, this one played X amount of games, and in that span, there was not one time that Kareem actually squared up a 3-point shot ever in his career. He had 2-point shots and free throws, right? So then we got the 3-point shot going, and then we got the fact that we got a center that had to wait for the ball versus someone who has the ball in his hand all the time. Not to say that what he's done is going to be a great accomplishment, but that doesn't solidify anything if you think about it from a basketball perspective, because the game has changed. And again, you got a man that only took 2s versus somebody who was able to take 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Yeah, and Wes, I do have to disagree with you because I believe Kareem is the best player of all time.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because not only did he win at every level,
yeah, he did,
but he changed the game at every level. They changed rules to control him.
Yeah.
You know,
to contain him.
Yeah. They changed rules for LeBron to be better. You know, they changed rules to make the game easier for LeBron. You know, I've always said that.
Well, let's say.
Well, I had Jordan Kareem. They probably should be Kareem and Jordan.
Well, I say Jordan is the best marketed player ever.
Right. For entertainment purposes, right? They craft the game to allow for the excitement. So if you got the story of the game is this particular player, he becomes the hero, the story for the whole year. We want to make it so we can tell the story, and then we end up with a happy ending at the end. That's people have to understand that about entertainment. It's always about a story and marketing and telling it. Right.
To your point, Hawk, you gonna tell me the Showtime Lakers weren't entertaining?
Oh, for sure. But basketball as a commodity itself wasn't what it is now. Like, the Showtime Lakers bought the basketball into entertainment, like Showtime. And then you get the Jordan years, and you get the Kobe, Shaq years, and then you get the whole time, the whole thing is hinged on LeBron. So you want to tell a story using your character.
Yeah, and they made it easier.
They make it easier, right?
For that, they've made the game easier for one player. Yep. All the other greats who we're talking about, Kareem and Jordan, the game
made it hard.
No, they called it Jordan rules because Jordan changed the game in a way that the NBA made it easier for him.
Those rules made it harder for Jordan to score.
Those were defensive rules. They weren't the Jordan rules to make it easier. They were Jordan rules to put them on the floor and double team and bump them and hit them and elbow them and all that other stuff.
They made it harder for Jordan. The rules that
it wasn't about making it easier for him. It was about
Jordan got a lot of calls that were
no. We're talking about but that doesn't have nothing to do with the rules. You're right about that.
Okay.
The Jordan rules was about physicality. Yeah, that's what the Jordan rules were about.
But we also know that there's a legend that Jordan got a lot of calls.
He got a lot of calls.
Right. And don't you think that was something that was like, listen, we need this particular player to thrive?
No, because when he drove, he was getting hit on his ass. The Jordan rules were defensive rules to hit him every time he came to the rim. We're not going to let him dunk. We're not going to let him do those beautiful layups that gets the crowd involved. We are going to put him at the free throw line.
You can't even foul an NBA player now.
Was already doing that.
I'm saying
the Boston Lakers shit was about.
The Jordan rules, though, was a defensive philosophy of the Detroit Pistons. It wasn't an NBA thing.
It wasn't an NBA thing. It was only the Pistons that had the Jordan rules.
The rules that were changed to make the game easy for LeBron, there's no hand checking. So you can't hit him. The game now is very easy to score. The rules that were changed to contain Kareem was, the first one was in college. He couldn't play as a freshman. He couldn't dunk the ball. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was taken away from that's how he learned the sky hook.
Yeah.
He played as a freshman.
No.
That was a UCLA wooden rule, no?
No, that was
a freshman team.
NCAA put that rule in. He was that good. We don't want freshmen to play. Mm-hmm. When you make rules to contain somebody or to keep them from being dominant, that's when you're great.
The NBA went back to a zone because of Shaq.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they want to tell you that what a flagrant foul is or an intentional foul. If you grab a player without going for the ball, the hacker shack is an intentional foul. There's not a play on the basketball. But then he turns around with that hard move coming through and swipe through. He's getting teed for intentional fouls or flagrants. But people are attacking him, grabbing him on the head, and they're calling regular fouls. Hacker shack. Yep. Because what, he's big? Like, no, that's an intentional foul. You're changing the rules for somebody. Now you're playing zone because you want to put people keep people in the paint. You can double them down there, and so pack it in because you can't stop that guy in a man-to-man. Zone became legal again.
Yep. To me, those are dominant players, and that's what greatness is about. When I got to do something to keep you from being to curb your greatness, that to me is a difference. If I got to do something so you can be great, I take a little away from you. And that's why I take a little away from LeBron, because they made it so the game is so easy for him. You can't touch him. You can't do anything to him. He can drive to the lane unimpeded. And, that's true.
That's like the modern day quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
That's a great comparison. You know,
So,
it makes it much easier for
okay.
these quarterbacks.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
That's a feather in your cap.
And I think that's what I think Joe Montana recently said something about that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm just saying, let's keep it consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, if you even had if you were on the ground, and you looked at Peyton Manning or Tom Brady near their legs, you was getting a flag.
Exactly.
You never touched them. You just had to be on the ground laying near him, and it was a flag.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, man. What was I gonna say? Yeah, man. So, I mean, it's entertainment. That's why I chalk it up to. It's entertainment. I think the story of him breaking Kareem's record. It's a story. They gotta sell it. They gotta sell it to you. So they want that to happen, so they can sell it to you. That's how I look at it.
But I love your point, Wes, that Kareem scored all twos and free throws.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a lot of points on all twos and free throws.
Yeah. And even when you look at the number of games that he played in college, it's not going to add up to the 200 less games that LeBron played to get to the number. But you can at least subtract 90, right? Because again, he played 4 years in college, at least 90 to 120 games. He couldn't play because he was in college, right?
Yep.
So it's not to deter what he did. What I'm saying is that they're both great, and it's different times, different eras, and to discount what another man did, because in this one there's more playoff rounds now. They were playing 2 rounds back then, or 3, and he played 5 games, or even 3 games in the first round back in the day. Yeah, 3 games. Series. So they're all 7-game series since he's been in the league. Yep. All 7-game series. So there's that because of that playoff number, right? So I was like, okay, it's not apples to apples. It's just not that cut and dry, because y'all told me that stats aren't good for everybody. So let's keep that consistent. That's it.
Yeah, for me, him getting the most points ever, that does nothing for my list. Like, it still does, because it's all relative,
Yeah,
I'm looking
everything comes in the picture. When you talk about what we're trying to get to, they've done so many things, right? You've got the championships, you got the All-Star appearances, you got the playoffs, you got the playoffs. It's too much.
It's too much. You can't isolate it down. You just can't. So points versus this, that, and the third. But the game has changed, all that, and you just appreciate players for who they are, and that's what it is. But I definitely don't think that him getting the most points, him surpassing Kareem, now trumps.
And then to be honest, again, Jordan played 3 years in college, and he retired. He retired after 14 seasons, and he had 39,000. So, I mean, we you just made Jordan's case.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's gonna be an argument.
The Jordan case is actually a little crazy, because I forgot about the fact he played 3 years and only played 14.
Yeah.
In the league,
Yeah.
But what about Magic 9 and 13?
Yeah, Magic went to the championship 9 times in 13 seasons.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, this dude comes in as a rookie, in a playoff series
and beat one of the.
Come on, man.
I love that Sixers team, even though I'm a Lakers fan. That Sixers team was tough that he beat.
Yeah.
As
Mo Cheeks and them.
Yeah, Mo Cheeks, Bobby Jones,
Sadell Threet and them nigga. Is that later?
That was later.
That was later.
Yeah, Mo Cheeks.
It was Lionel Hollins. It was Lionel Hollins and Mo Cheeks.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then that team was tough.
Yeah, you had Caldwell Jones.
Bobby Jones was the center. Yep.
Yeah, and Dr. J. Yeah, and they had some Steve Mix was another player on their squad. Because that was Magic was my guy. So when he got to the pros, I was in tears when Kareem got hurt. But then I was like, yo, Magic's playing center. Oh snap!
Yeah, I remember, because I've always been a Lakers fan, because my dad was a Kareem fan. And when Kareem got hurt, my dad was heartbroken, and I'm like, oh, this might be it. Because even though I was a Lakers fan I grew up in a Trenton area close to Philly. So, it was Philly everywhere.
Dr. J.
And
Mhm.
Dr. J. And it was like, oh, Doc going to get one now,
Yep.
And
Yep.
Magic came out there and played center and brought
Yep.
his version of the skyhook out, which showed that he was also a student of the game.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, this guy. Look, and if Magic didn't go away for them couple years and didn't get, HIV, we might not be having any of these conversations about
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You can't discount the impact.
Like when I talk about Magic games as a point guard, like LeBron is a gifted passer, but when I think about LeBron as a passer, he passes to the same spot. Like basically, these guys all got a spot up. 3-point shooters, right?
He's passing open guys.
Yeah, open guys. Magic threw people open. Like he was like a quarterback that threw people open. Like so Worthy used to get the ball in the post, but then he used to get the ball cutting, sliding, all types of diving, whatever. Jamal Wilkes used to get, it would be layup after layup because he just moved around all the time. And so when you look at Magic, he was like, he made people better. When you're with LeBron, you're a 3-point threat. It's a difference.
LeBron, you better be.
You better be a 3-point threat.
You better be a 3-point threat.
That's it. Like you got to stop playing your game. You can't play your game no more. You got to get behind the 3-point line.
Yep.
And I got to run it. I got to do everything. You just got to make 3-pointers.
Yeah, and that J.R. Smith said that when he went to Cleveland, he had to become a 3-and-D guy, shoot threes and defend. That wasn't. He was a scorer before when he was in Denver.
Yeah.
He had to change his game to adapt to what they were doing in Cleveland.
He did it very well, though.
He did.
He did.
Yeah.
And not to say and LeBron is just doing what the game is now, right? Mm-hmm. He's a product of his environment, right? So he's not doing anything wrong. It's just the fact that again, when we start talking about the best to ever do it, it becomes a deeper conversation than just the people looking at it from their 35 and under minds.
Yes. I'm gonna give you a hot take on LeBron. He's going to the Golden State Warriors after his contract is up with the Lakers.
I agree. He want to play with Steph before he leave.
Because that makes his life so easy.
Yeah. He want to play with Steph one time.
I mean, at 38, 39, yes.
Yeah, no,
I factor all that into like he's 37.
Yeah, he's going to Golden State because him playing with Clay and Steph, he just going to hit them and they're going to hit open threes all day long, and he's going to be happy. And the media be like, "Oh my God, this is phenomenal." Is it really?
Because at 39 years old, this is incredible.
No, it's real easy, actually. They were doing that before. They just
in great shape.
Yeah.
And I give him credit for that. That's the one thing that separates him from everybody else.
I mean,
is the availability is like nobody else.
I'm seeing him do things, and I'm like, that's a 37-year-old man right there. Like he's doing things a 27-year-old is doing. Like he's the second leading scorer in the league, third lead. He's third. Where's he at right now?
I, as a Laker fan, I always have to remind people what somebody else was doing at 36, 37 before he popped that Achilles. I mean, that was one of the best seasons that Kobe ever had at that age. And people and he hurt his Achilles, got out, and it was like he was on the decline. Like anyway, no, actually he had his best year in that around that time when he popped his Achilles. That was one of his best seasons rather.
And Kareem at 40 was still very effective.
Yeah. And I don't think this is one of LeBron's best seasons at all. I just say that to say the idea of somebody like when people expect you to do something, right? And you live up to the expectation, you surpass the expectation. To say somebody's going to be playing on this level at 37, it only takes a Kobe. It takes a Jordan at 41 to come back and play for the Wizards and Astros. To meet the expectation is Tom Brady
phenomenal
to go to Tampa Bay and say, it's shit's.
I think what he's doing
bro.
is definitely not something that is normally done.
Mm-hmm.
But what I say is that we still act like we have never seen it done.
Right.
And so I don't take anything away from it because it's not done often, right? So it's still a great accomplishment, but we've seen it before. Yeah. And so let's not act like it's the first time it ever happened.
But I also know that, and we make a big deal out of him being 37 playing at that level. I know from growing up playing in the park, the best dudes that could play were them dudes 35 and up.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, damn, this old dude is kicking our ass. Even when I was in college, the guys who were winning, like, intramural championships and stuff would be like the professor's team.
Yeah.
The old dudes that just know how to play.
Yeah.
So this isn't an anomaly. It's just the NBA runs guys out of the league when they get older as well, because they want the younger guys to shine, and they promote them more so.
Mm-hmm. And LeBron is a brand. It's money.
Yes, it's
period.
Money.
He's a self-made brand. Period.
Yep.
That's it. I mean that's the bottom line. They want to see him. He sells tickets.
And he's Shaq. He's the biggest physical specimen that has played the game. Like physically,
yeah.
Who compares to him physically?
Nobody. He's Karl Malone in a Magic Johnson mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't even have another similar body type frame in the league.
Mm-mm.
Like LeBron.
Mm-mm.
Think about that.
Mm-mm.
Because
nobody invests in their body like he does.
What's my man used to play for Houston? Kevin
Willis.
Kevin Willis. Was it Kevin Willis they used to play? He was just brolic, just arms, shoulders, like.
Yeah, but Kevin Willis' arms were probably the length of yours, even though he was a 7-footer.
Yeah, Kevin. They called him alligator because he used to catch the ball like this.
He was a 7-footer. He had really short arms, though.
He'd be like, that was him reaching for the ball like that. Yeah.
But you just physically, I think LeBron is the best player
ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Physically, ever.
Wilt Chamberlain? Wilt, early Wilt, bro. I know we didn't see him play early, but I see the footage, and Wilt was
Wilt was before his time. Wilt might have been physically and athletically. Wilt might have been the greatest player ever, because athletically, remember, Wilt was a high jump champion.
A high jumper. He used to jump like a
high.
He didn't do the Pillsbury flop or whatever you call that joint. He jumped it like a hurdle.
Yeah, like
at like 8-9 feet.
What was the man?
Yeah, like he was a volleyball champion. Like he was different.
That's not fair though.
It's really not.
A high jump ball. Stop it, dude.
Yeah, like he was different physically.
Yeah. That's the footage of him meeting Shaq for the first time at the NBA All-Star. He comes out on the floor, he goes to shake Shaq's hand, and he jerks Shaq. Now Shaq, Shaq is probably the strongest person I've ever shaken hands with.
Yeah, big dude, just a big dude.
Shaq is just he yanked Shaq like Shaq was me.
Yeah, like hey, young fella.
He probably crushed his little fingers too.
At 57 years old at the time, 57 years. Crazy.
Yeah, no, Wilt was different, man. Wilt was definitely different. But that I give all the credit to LeBron, his body, how he's taking care of his body.
Ridiculous.
He's a defensive end playing football. I mean, playing basketball.
Playing basketball. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and availability is a part of the process too, and he's always been available.
Yep.
Yeah. So what time is it, gentlemen? You know,
You had it for 2 hours, bro.
Well, oh man, you know, we can always count on Coach E to keep a conversation going, bro.
Absolutely.
With some great insight, you know, no doubt, you know. So, you know, I guess
I got one question before we end this. Who y'all got for the MVP of the All-Star game?
Oh, yeah.
I got Wiggins.
Ooh.
I got Ja.
Woo.
Yeah, but you know what, Coach E, just to give you the heads up, talk about the most critical person of Andrew Wiggins I've ever met was Wes up until this year. So
I gotta be, say that, you know what I'm saying? I gotta be wrong sometimes. And all I ask, Coach, is for I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not the guy that jumps on the bandwagon when somebody puts something in the microwave and it cook for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I like to put the broiler on and watch the whole turkey cook, right? These guys come in the league and you cannot tell me that Wiggins wasn't a disappointment for 7 years.
Yes. Well, here I'm gonna give you some backstory.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, please.
When I was at St. Anthony's, we played against Wiggins' high school team.
Mm-hmm.
Wiggins then, first of all, his team had a bunch of future pros on it. That was, I think, the first and only time.
That was a Canadian team, right?
No, he went to Huntington Prep in West Virginia.
Okay.
Canadian. And they had like 3 Canadians on the team. They had some European kid.
Mm-hmm.
This was the probably first and only time we came out of the locker room as a coaching staff, saw them in the layup line doing what they do, and was like, oh shit, we in trouble. You know, and they start the game. Wiggins' first 2 shots were NBA threes. And he drained those things like he was playing on a Nerf hoop.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we prided ourselves on defense. That's the only time we've called timeout literally after the first 2 plays of the game. And it was like, all right, look, we got to switch it up. I always thought he would be a very good pro. And I thought he would be an all-star. I think too much was put on him early on, which is tough to say because he was number 1 pick, wasn't he?
He was his first pick.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to say, you know, too much pressure on the number 1 pick, but I think they got him and expected him to elevate that.
Well, he got drafted by Cleveland. He got traded out of Cleveland, right? I think that was the year LeBron came in, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
I think they expect. Did he get traded to Minnesota?
Yeah, for Kevin Love.
Minnesota. Yeah, and that's
I think they expected him to elevate a really bad team. He wasn't ready do nothing in Minnesota at that point.
Yeah, I get that part. I just think that
I think he's progressed the way he was supposed to progress. Now he has the right coach, has given him the confidence, the freedom to play his game, and he has worked on his game as well. But he always had the range to shoot the 3. His athleticism.
I only criticize cats that I think could play and just aren't playing up to the potential.
Right.
If you're not good, I'm not criticizing you and saying you're not good because there's a reason. If you're the number 1 pick, you got talent. I saw the kid in Kansas. He could play. But I just was like, and then Karl Anthony Towns and then Jimmy Butler, everybody was talking about, well, can we get this kid wound up? Like, does he have a motor? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, he was expected to lead a team, and he was a baby. You know, he was a baby, and now he's in the right situation, doing what you always thought he could do. You know,
I just said I picked him for the All-Star MVP, right?
Yeah.
So as much as I criticize somebody, is only out of the fact that I feel like you're cheating us out of something we should be able to see.
But there's like we said, there's a backstory. Right?
Yeah,
a lot of times,
I appreciate the backstory.
The organization, when you look at a place like Minnesota, you look at like a place like the Pelicans.
Yeah, just losing organization.
In football, Houston Texans.
Yeah,
you got bad culture, bad environment, but you got this young star with all of this talent. He's still 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. He needs to be developed, and we expect so much out of these athletes in a short amount of time with all the spotlight right on them. and we feel disappointed, feel cheated. We go in when it's really he needed a really strong mentor. When you say, Coach K talking to LeBron was the first time he really had somebody. You think about on the level that LeBron played basketball, high school into the pros. There was never a person he could respect enough to be like, you need to change your thing up.
Yep.
Like that's
but
crazy.
Think about even what you just said right there. Kyrie and Wiggins were on the same team when he got drafted, right? Kyrie was already on Cleveland. Wiggins got drafted to Cleveland. They traded. LeBron came to Cleveland. LeBron couldn't play with another young boy with Kyrie. He had to go get Kevin Love. Now, again, that young boy could have been is like that's why I always question sometimes because it's like is he a threat?
It's unfair. It's unfair. Yes. That's unfair. That's unfair.
Is he a threat? I'm just asking.
No. Yes. This is why that question is unfair. Because if you go back in time, all you care about is you gotta win LeBron. That's all you care about.
You got him already, though.
Huh?
You got him already. When LeBron went to Cleveland,
why you went to go get Kevin Love?
No, but I'm saying you won LeBron already. You won LeBron already. I'm saying he wasn't.
I'm saying you have to win now. You don't have time to develop a young player and maybe in 2 or 3 years he becomes the player you think he's going to be. In that position right then and there, the organization and LeBron James, they have to win now. If they don't win right now, it's a failure. And who cares about whether he developed Andrew Wiggins or not? Nobody cares.
I'm not saying he had to develop Andrew Wiggins. I don't want him to develop him. I'm just saying that it really
be a mentor to him and be that mentor and help his confidence. He didn't have to develop Kyrie, and that's where they bumped heads. Kyrie mindset and thought process was, I'm just as good as you. I won Rookie of the Year just like you did.
No, Kyrie had a mentor already, and Kyrie, his mentor was already in the league.
Right. Yeah, Kobe was his mentor, and he
already had
a different mindset.
Take the organization has to win now.
Yeah.
Kevin Love.
No, the organization didn't have to win now. LeBron feels like he always has to win now.
No, because he does.
No,
coming the way he came in the league.
We don't care. We don't care if LeBron is in the finals and wins it or not.
Shit. In terms of,
we don't care. Who cares if LeBron wins it or not every year? Nobody.
There's a lot of people for a long time who had a opposing argument on LeBron based on what he achieved or didn't achieve. Right. So in terms of his legacy within the NBA, it's predicated on how many championships he can get to and win, most important, because everything else doesn't mean
self-imposed.
I think that's just the way everybody views the league, especially after Michael Jordan. It's about rings and hardware. It's Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. You can't just win one. Somebody just said this the other day. One is not enough to really prove your value. You got to win more than one.
No, I agree
with that. And that's across the board. If that's why these people are doing it, and that is their drive, it's more than just me showing up and entertaining people and making a lot of money. I'm really in this for the legacy of it. It's about championships and rings. He has to win. So in that situation back then, when he went from Miami, especially coming into the league, being compared to the likes of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, we can't talk about you until you win a ring. Right, Wes?
Yeah.
We can't even enter the conversation. Okay.
I agree with that.
Right. Now you're
in. But I think his first problem, his first problem came hot, and it can sound silly, but when you give yourself a nickname, the King, when you call that was your first problem walking into the league. You got 2 dons in the league already, and you talk about you're the King. And you gave yourself that name. That was your first. That created the punching bag. That was the punching bag.
Is that story from Ron Artest true about a pickup game where LeBron and Jordan were on the same team? Artest was on the opposing team. It was a bunch of NBA ballers in the game. So when Jordan's the first time Jordan played with LeBron, he's asking everybody, is he the one? Is he the one? Is he the one? So he said LeBron just served everybody at 16 years old, and he hit a fadeaway shot over Ron Artest, and Jordan goes, "That's the one."
Yeah.
So
no, I think it's self-imposed though as well. I think LeBron put that on himself. Like you said, he's the king. So I think he put that on himself. Do I
Because
think
that was the first argument for like 5 years. Everybody was like, he's the king with no crown.
Right,
that's what everybody used to say. He was the king with no crown. The king with no crown. That was like common jab.
Now, so when you look at not again, he's not the great. He's not my GOAT. My GOAT is Kareem, Jordan, Magic. LeBron is like, and I can't figure it out from there. It's like whatever. But when you consider Andrew Wiggins' expectation, the backstory, going to an organization, Cleveland, when LeBron got there, dysfunctional, never won anything, that wasn't a winning environment. The young boy stays at home, right? Does the, like, everybody, we can't even compare you to the greats until you get to a championship. Drives this Cleveland team to the championship, and for a bunch of reasons, they don't win it.
Well, they were when he got him there the first time. His first championship appearance was the most impressive because he got a bunch of misfits to the championship against San Antonio, and I don't even think there's any shame in getting swept in that round because again, he had to play again. He had nothing on that roster. I mean, I really can't name a good player on that roster, so that just goes to show you. That was the beginning of greatness. So sometimes you could be great in a loss. In a losing battle, you could be great.
Right.
AI when he took the Sixers to the
exactly. Now I don't want to go down the LeBron history. It's just to say that to compare it to Andrew Wiggins and the expectation, and for somebody to live up to all that going into the moment, Andrew Wiggins doing it now is LeBron James living up to it straight out. Like that's like crazy, man.
I give you that.
I think Wiggins is where he's supposed to be right now, and I like your pick as MVP. I'm picking John Morant.
Yeah, I'm going John Morant
or Trae Young for the MVP. I think Trae is going to show out because the All-Star game, no defense, just fits. Trae Young might do some, and John Morant might do some crazy.
Who's the point guard? Who's Wiggins playing with? Who's Wiggins playing with? What team?
He's playing with Steph, LeBron, Giannis.
Steph, LeBron, and Giannis on the same squad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody wants to see Ja get it. Like everybody that's playing wants to see him have a fit.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be Ja or Trae. One of them.
Those are good picks too.
Just because it's the way the All-Star game free flowing, Ja's going to do it, man. I can't wait to see the dunks he's going to do in this game.
Oh my God, it's going to be Superman and Iron Man
and Trae is going to match Steph for every 3-pointer that Steph attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Trae going to do the same thing, so that's going to be exciting to watch.
Yo, can let me give you the rundown on the lineup. Kevin Durant, team captain.
Yeah.
He has Joel Embiid, John Morant, Jason Tatum, Andrew Wiggins, Trae Young. His reserves are LaMelo Ball, Devin Booker, Rudy Gobert, Zach LaVine, Chris Middleton, Jonte Murray, Karl Anthony Towns, Draymond Green. Let's see what LeBron's is.
Hey, that team that's an all-star team. That team is made for an all-star game.
You know what I like? What I think about now that pick even more because the fact that you got LaMelo and Trae and Ja as guards, they're gonna feed a guy that can get up and down with them athletically. Yeah. They're gonna feed that guy. So all he gotta do is just get up and down early, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I like that squad.
That squad is made for an all-star game. My God.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What's LeBron's squad?
I can't find it.
I know it's Giannis, Steph, Joker. I don't know who else.
I don't want to do that over there.
Devin Booker, is on that squad. Chris Paul might be on that squad too.
Woo. Team LeBron. The
I know
roster.
Team LeBron has all the size. I do know that.
It's Giannis, Steph, DeRozan, LeBron, and Joker. And then you got Jared Allen, Jimmy Butler, Luka, Garland, Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Fred VanVleet. James Harden don't got no reason to be near that game.
He's not playing.
I know, but he shouldn't even been in there as a reserve. I don't think.
I agree.
Yeah.
Where's John? Was Doncic? He's with Team LeBron?
Team LeBron.
Yeah, Luka's with LeBron.
He could be a surprise too.
Yeah.
He has all the tools to look really good in the All-Star game.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player.
You know.
Yeah. I like both teams. Real cool. Devin Booker is on with Durant.
Oh, he's with Durant. Oh,
yeah.
I like that Durant team, man.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna get up and down.
And good for DeJounte Murray for getting picked up for Draymond Green. Good for him.
Yeah, that's big. I haven't seen a lot of him this year. I haven't seen.
I like his game.
Mm-hmm.
You know who he remind me of? He remind me of a new school Alvin Robinson.
Ooh,
like
okay.
if he could kind of, like I said, defense is an attitude, but that kid has all the tools at that position to be like a lockdown defender, a distributor. He's good. Like and that was one of my favorite players, Alvin Robinson. That was a walking quadruple double.
Yeah. And the fact that whatchamacallit, Murray plays at San Antonio, so he's always going to play. He's in a great system.
Yep. He gonna play defense.
Yep.
Because Popovich gonna have you on the floor if you don't play defense.
Yep.
And people forget Alvin Robinson was the starting 2 guard with Magic every year in All-Star game for like 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
It was Magic and Alvin Robinson at the guard spot in the West.
Yep. He was solid.
Yep.
Solid. So
all right, gentlemen.
I enjoyed it, gentlemen. I did
too. I did too.
Yeah, it was dope. Exactly.
Yep.
We 3 hours in. It's almost 10 o'clock, right?
No, 8:30.
No, it's 9:30.
9:30.
Yeah,
8:30. Yeah,
2.5 hours. That's a nice one right there, Coach E.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for everybody that chimed in with us. JT, always, bro. Appreciate you. Sabor, everybody else. That Valerie. Hey, what's up? This is IZM Sports. We out. Peace.